We back live and in color on video. We didn't graduate
talking
from Blog Talk
sports.
Radio to Restream on video, people.
We have graduated. Yes, on the Facebook, the Book of the Face, as they say, on the YouTube, which is another Talking 12 Man Sports. Another 12 Man Sports. I say that right. That's the YouTube page. But on Facebook, we're Talking Sports 12 Man. Gary Schaefer, Andre Peterson, Rob Ford. JQ will be joining us pretty soon here. Coming back from another Christmas party. And yes, Gary, I'm gonna have a little video intro at some point. I promise that's gonna be the fun part. Gary's like, Dre, you gotta do something with this. You gotta spice this up. And I'm like, you know what? I'll get my I'll get myself together here, but it's all good. We got JQ in his my guy. Oh,
no paraphernalia. Look like he's in business attire tonight. Check him out.
Mr. Hey man, I had to go to the office party tonight, man. So I had to be presentable.
Where's the ugly Christmas sweater?
Looking GQ.
No, we don't get down like that.
Where's the ugly Christmas sweater?
No. We don't get down like that, bro.
Where's the red and green bow tie?
No ugly Christmas sweater.
No. I put my black and my orange on for my Bengals today, and I just roll with it all day.
Yeah, that's right. Rub it in, Gary. He was talking trash before you got on here.
I know. He can't help himself.
He was talking about putting hexes on teams, man. What were you talking about earlier, Gary? What were you saying?
I do not recall.
So what are you free on now? You putting hexes on people?
Only Rob. Only Rob.
One of my teams is what he said. Huh?
So far.
You should be trying that against every Cowboys opponent every week and see if it works.
I should have this last week. JQ put a hex on us.
Wow. It's
yeah, that was wild.
We don't want to pile on, Gary. I just felt your pain because I was looking at they were doing all these things with the Cowboys guy just dropping that, it was was turn around every now and again. It was like, oh man. It was just little things, man. I was like, man, I feel your pain because not what we expect for the season. So it's all good.
Well, I'm surprised that you made a game of it, really.
Yeah, well, it was. Hey, they're getting paid too. There's millionaires getting paid on both sides of the ball, man. So no one's gonna willfully give up. And each week is another game-to-game situation. So,
I told you the Bengals got the four of us playing in the secondary, so they was gonna score points on Cincinnati. I mean, it is what it is.
But hey, the disappointing thing is Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are having MVP kind of seasons, and it's disappointing that they're only 5-8. And it reminds me of some of the Saints teams with Drew Brees when Drew Brees was throwing over 5,000 yards and all these touchdown passes, and the Saints was giving up 35, 40 points a game, and they would finish at 8-8 with Drew Brees. Obviously they had a lot of good years too where they went deep in the playoffs, but they had 2 to 3 seasons where they were lighting up the scoreboard offensively, but the other teams were doing the same thing. I remember we beat the New York Giants and Eli Manning 52-49. That's how good our offense was and how bad our defense was.
Yeah, and the thing about it is I don't think they have these years if the defense is that bad because they probably take the air out of the ball a little bit more. Like if you got a lead, you take if you can run the ball. But when you're always having to trade touchdowns and you have to throw that running game out the window, they went through the second quarter and you just throw it, and that's where they are. So, people say that, but you have to take the other side of that I don't think that they would run the same offense if they could play some defense.
Well, what I would say about Chase, he's a phenomenal receiver. There's nobody in the league that can.
Chase,
Chase. He's open all the time.
He says it. He lets everybody know it too. I'm always open.
Every week he's open.
7-11.
Put 2 guys on him. Let somebody, geez, come on, guys. He's open by 20 yards. There's nobody around him.
Well, even when he's covered, he's got great hands. Once he's got that football, he's going to get it, right? And they just, obviously they played together in college, so that chemistry's been there for quite some time. And it's just carried over to the National Football League. And like I said, he could be covered. They're throwing back shoulders. Joe knows his spots on where to put the football for him to go get it, even when he is covered, right? Mm-hmm. So that chemistry is probably second to none in anybody in the NFL today, and it almost reminds you of Montana and Rice.
Hey, listen, I'm not gonna take it that far yet. As much as
I said almost. I didn't say it was. I said almost. I mean, it's obviously Montana and Rice won a lot of Super Bowls together, but and 49ers had some good defenses back in the day, but it's definitely the best tandem in the league today.
I think so. I think that game changed when Overshown got hurt. When he got hurt, blew his knee out. That he's the only other one on defense I think that can wreck a play like outside of Micah. So when he got hurt and blew out, I think he blew out every ligament in his knee. That changed the complexity of the game a little bit. Prayers up for him.
Hey Rob, you had the talking sports, or in the topics you had the 2024 redraft. I'm going to do the 2021 draft because I would go back and I wouldn't even let that happen if I had my time machine. I'm sorry, JQ. Ja'Marr Chase would not even make it to the Bengals. He would go number 4 to the Falcons. Just feels to be the man. So many things would happen, man. So I apologize, but again, that's what would happen for that one. I don't even know how we even let that even happen. Sorry,
the Kyle Pitts situation. I said this in one of my clips earlier this year, and Kyle Pitts. At some point, you got to stop blaming the quarterback and just say, hey, he's just not the tight end that people thought he was going to be when he drafted him, right? I mean, he's had how many quarterbacks now? I mean, it's now time to say he's just not that guy. Everybody's like, okay, we got to get a quarterback to give him the football. But at this point, Kyle Pitts is just not that guy. He's not. Yeah. As talented as he is, he's just not that guy as a tight end. You got tight ends with less talent. George Kittle, Travis Kelce, putting up big-time numbers, boxing out defenders. He's just not that guy. At this stage, you just got to come to yourself as a talent evaluator, as a head coach, as a fan, if you are a fan of the Falcons. I'm not, of course. You just got to say, he's just not that guy. He's not.
He really should be having the year that Jonnu Smith is having right now for the Dolphins.
Yeah. And look at Jonnu Smith, man. He's having a big year. And the Falcons had him on the roster.
Yeah.
That's a whole other conversation. But I'm not going to steal that thing. I'm not going to steal all the. We got so many fun things to talk about. And believe it or not, gentlemen, we may have a surprise. I've been texting Naj, and Naj wants to see us, man. So he's like, if I get home, he's going to try to jump on as well, too. So we finally get to see the famous Naj.
We hear him on the radio all the time. We've never seen what he looked like. Mm-hmm. At least I haven't.
Me neither.
I haven't seen him either. So yeah, I'm literally texting him right now as we speak, and hopefully he'll join on because he was excited. Because he texted me he's like, what's going on, man? Y'all haven't been on for a couple of weeks. I'm like, nah, man. I had to give him the whole spill about Blog Talk. So, and how Gary kept jinxing Blog Talk. No, I'm just joking. Gary's amazing. So it was so funny, how everything was going down. But it's excited to get him on, gentlemen. Let's get to some topics, and this is pretty good. I always want to give you guys a shout out. Rob, thank you for painstakingly taking the time to put all these amazing topics in. And we're gonna first kick it off, and it was kind of some jokes, and I didn't actually believe this was gonna go down, but yeah, looks like the University of North Carolina is actually finalize the deal with Bill Belichick to be the coach of the Tar Heels. So JQ. Man, what say you on this, man?
Listen, I think he saw the writing on the wall, especially when he didn't get the Atlanta job, right? Like it's won all those Super Bowls with Tom Brady, and he didn't really get the market I think that he thought he was going to get in this past offseason, right? So I think he took a year off and recharged his batteries. But if you think about it, for him, wanting to be in control of everything, part of the aspect of a program, choosing the players, running the plays, all those good things. Going back to college, if he gets somebody, he's got a young girlfriend, so he's trying to relate. So, if he's got some people around him that he can probably delegate some of the recruiting to, but of course, Bill Belichick walking in your house saying come to play for North Carolina it's not as much as Deion walking in saying come to play for Colorado. But, that's pretty powerful if Coach Belichick says, man, I've been around the best. I've had Seymour and Brady. You can be one of them. Come to North Carolina. That might make your skin tingle. Well, I know we hate the Patriots cheating asses, but If you're 18, 19 years old, 17, and he comes to your house and tells you that, you're like, oh, North Carolina, that puts North Carolina back on the map, and not just talking about basketball. And if we want to be honest, he's probably going to bring his son, and then when he hangs it up, he's going to probably try to get his son to be his, successor. So the Tar Heels become a Belichick kind of lineage at the school, because I believe his dad was there way back in the day. So, good for him. I think it's a win-win for both of them. Me and Eric was actually talking about that tonight in terms of him being able to have full control in North Carolina. They can't buy the press they're going to get right now by having Belichick be their coach. They can't. To go from Mac Brown to Bill Belichick it's not just a home run, it's a grand slam.
Yeah. It's definitely a huge newsworthy story, right? Belichick going to college and JQ touched on it, right? He's not getting the looks from the NFL. You look at the two organizations that have already fired coaches this year, the Saints and the Jets, and neither one of those organizations are discussing Bill Belichick right now. And the Falcons are the only one that interviewed him last year. And obviously there's going to be more openings. The Jaguars are probably going to fire Doug Peterson. The Giants are probably going to get rid of Brian Dable, and there may be a few others. Mike McCarthy might actually get to keep his job in the Cowboys, but we'll see. There's going to be more firings to come, right? But obviously this is an opportunity for him. And look, are there going to be some skeptics? I'm still not sold on him being successful in college, right? Look, can he relate to today's players? That's going to be a huge question mark. JQ touched on this a moment ago. Can he recruit? He's going to have to get some good strategists around him from a recruiting standpoint, right? Yes, he's a big name, but can he really relate to the players of today like some of these younger coaches are? You look at the guy in South Carolina, right? You look at Deion, right? These guys are really relating to a lot of these college players on today. Is he going to be able to come in and institute X's and O's and maybe develop players and things of that nature? I have no doubt about that, right? But I'm still skeptical on how successful he can be as a college coach. And look, I'm a big Carolina basketball fan. I root for the school and some of the other sports too a little bit. Obviously not more than I root for LSU. So I'm hoping that they're successful, but I'm not totally sold. I have to look at how he structures his organization, what type of people he's going to put around him for him to be successful, right? He's going to need some good young recruiters on that staff to really help him. So he's going to really have to build his organization, in my opinion, to be successful. And hey, he and Nick Saban are really close. So I think that's somebody he's going to really talk to and get some information from. And so I think he's going to use Nick Saban as a confidant, right, to help him possibly be successful in the college game. Definitely an intriguing story. Definitely is going to be one to watch in years to come in college football for sure.
Well, with him being so close to the all-time winning record of Shula's, I was surprised that he didn't give it another year, knowing that there's probably going to be 4 or 5 jobs opening this next season, head coaching jobs. I was really surprised at that. But I think you're right. I think he'll end up being obviously a better pro coach than I think he will a college coach. But we'll see.
So just to
follow, he's got 7 Super Bowls. No, or 6. I'm sorry. No, he does have 7, right?
No, Brady's got 7.
Yeah, Brady has 7, so he has 6.
He has 6.
Yeah, well, he's got some more as an assistant, but he has
with the Giants. So you bring up a good point, and I wonder, dare we say it? Because Don Shula is beloved in NFL circles, and I don't know how beloved Belichick is, especially after the scandals. Do you think that they were like, we just are going to collectively say, hey, we don't want to hire him so he doesn't pass Shula? Because for somebody that's won 6 Super Bowls, for just to be just passed over like that is alarming if I'm him. And to your point, Rob, about the young strategist, but think about it from the flip side. If you're breaking in and you're trying to make your name, who's better from a winning standpoint recently to go learn from how to run an organization, how to teach them how to evaluate talent, than go to learn at the knee of Bill for a little bit. And you may not stay at Carolina long if you get and you have some success and then somebody poaches him off the staff. But if I'm young and I have all that wisdom and I get to see him, shape an organization, run it, and have some success, I mean, it's worse people to go learn from. So I don't know if he's going to have a whole lot of trouble going to get people in there. Whether will it work is ultimately what it is. But I don't think he's going to have a hard time getting people on staff. I'd be shocked.
I agree.
No. And look, and obviously, we can't discriminate against age, right? But Bill Belichick is 72 years old too, so we got to keep that in mind, right? How well is he going to be able to relate to these college athletes?
His girlfriend is like 22 years old. He relating to her ass?
Oh,
hey, I'm not even talking. How can he relate to these young kids? Now, look. Now, I will say this. Bill Belichick has impressed me on TV. I didn't think Bill Belichick was going to be the kind of guy to have that kind of personality on television, right? Nick Saban, I knew he would be great on TV. He was always very articulate when he spoke, very good communicator. But, you didn't see that from Bill Belichick in his press conferences and his interviews. We on to Cincinnati. We on to the next. He was very just straight to the point, blunt, just, end it. But I will say I was a lot more impressed with him on TV than I thought I would be. So hopefully some of that personality, translate to the college game, and maybe he can relate to the players a little bit.
No, he ain't gonna go right straight back to being an Iron Fist. You already know it.
Oh, yes, he is. Absolutely.
I think he's going to prove a lot of us wrong. And there is another side of Bill Belichick, believe it or not. And you got to understand, gentlemen. So, as you said, Rob, you mentioned it. He's friends with Nick Saban. I'm sure he's talking to Nick about a couple of things. What if Nick Saban's like an advisor or a consultant, something like that? There's a lot of people that he's making calls, and he's like, what do you think about this? I'm like, hey, try it for 1 or 2 years or whatever. You want to get your mind right. I mean, and the NFL is still going to always be there. We talk about missed opportunities. Hindsight is always 2020. We're looking at it now. Bill Belichick has more knowledge in his pinky about football than a lot of people. So again, you can say the game may have passed him by, but he still has a lot of knowledge, and still, I mean, we hired Raheem Morris, and I was one person who was like, I still thought it was a good hire. I mean, I wasn't mad at it, but everyone's like, the game passed him by. That dude would have brought respect, for the Falcons. But again, hindsight, we're still here. Yeah. That's all we can look at too. So it's all good.
And to being a head coach, there's a lot more than just knowing football. We all know that, right? There's no question about Bill Belichick's knowledge of the game. I mean, we're not questioning that here. But I think the things you got to, can he motivate young players, right? At his age, does he have the energy to put in those kind of hours that a head coach has to put in, right? So those are the things that more concern me than his knowledge of the game. I don't have any doubt about his knowledge of the game.
Right.
It's really more the outside things that you have to do as a head coach, right? The time, the energy, the motivating. Those are the kind of things that
making hands, kissing babies, the boosters, all of that.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick. Dinner's already at 5:00, so I'm good. I eat dinner. I'm going to sleep. I'm early at 4. You're not going to in the office. I'm pretty much good to go, so I'm already there. So I don't know what you're talking about, man. I can get up with them young whippersnappers. I can get somebody for social media. I can delegate a couple things. I'm totally joking. It's all good.
Yeah.
So,
if coaching football is all he had to do, then I'm not worried, right? But it's all the other things. You're the CEO of your football organization, right? So there are a lot of business aspects of things. As JQ mentioned, motivating not only the team, but motivating the boosters, getting the buy-in, getting NIL money. I mean, it's a whole new world out there, right? And look, I'm rooting for him. I'm not rooting against him. But are there some concerns? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not rooting for him.
Well, we know.
We know how you feel, Gary.
Just want to make that clear.
We know, Gary. We know.
All right, gentlemen. Shout out to Mario Seal, my guy. We go back like babies and pacifiers. It's still a line from old Dirty B.
Babies and pacifier. Wow.
Yeah.
Man, think about this. Rich Rodriguez. You talk about him and the rumors of kind of a reunited, and it feels so good reunion with West Virginia. What about that? And obviously Rich Rod had them, obviously in a good place. I have to look and see if he had major hair, so that was before his time. But I'm thinking about that's how far back I think about West Virginia, and he had some dynamic teams and just an interesting offense. But is this kind of a true situation? Are we heard about this, or what? What do we say about this? So I'll give it.
I think Major Harris was before his time. But I mean, Rich Rodriguez has had a lot of success.
Was it Pat White? Was his quarterback?
Pat White, yeah. Pat White was one of them.
Yeah.
Remember, they beat Georgia in the Sugar Bowl one year. They upset them. It actually was the year of Katrina when the Sugar Bowl was played in Atlanta, and instead of New Orleans. And so Georgia was like a home game for Georgia, and West Virginia came into the Georgia Dome at that time, and man, they just ran up and down the field against Georgia. So definitely a good football coach. I definitely think. I don't know how old Rich Rodriguez is today. I don't
61.
think he's 72.
He's 61.
61.
I'm looking. I'm looking.
So I mean, he's definitely has a good track record. He did a fairly good job at Arizona. Obviously, West Virginia is probably where he's had his most success. Right? And look at the Big 12, right? The West Virginia's in the Big 12. This year we had Arizona State and Iowa State in the conference championship game. You know, with the right situations and the right things falling in place for you. I mean, that conference is anybody's conference, man. Because you don't really have like one team that's like a powerhouse. You know, Texas and Oklahoma out of there. And nobody thought Arizona State was going to be in that game, right? Nobody thought Iowa State was going to be in that game prior to the season. So when that conference, when you look at it, the dynamics of that conference, I mean, anybody can go on a run from year to year.
Yeah, and again, for him, it's low pressure because, I mean, nobody's expecting a whole bunch out of West Virginia, to your point. Like, I don't know what they were picked preseason, but it couldn't have been super high. I probably went no higher than like 9th, somewhere in there, 8th or 9th or 10th. So you walk into a situation where they love you. They're going to give you a little bit more grace because they love you for what you did for them in the past. And you're not walking in with, hey, here go $15 million in NIL, go win us the championship this year. Like, you don't have that level of expectation in West Virginia. So, to me, it's like, why wouldn't you? And I want to say he was at Jacksonville State before.
Yeah, that's where he was, Jacksonville State. Had a good year.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, to me, it's a no-brainer for him. Go back to where you love, bro, and there's low expectations.
Yeah, Morgantown.
Well,
he revived Bob Huggins in college basketball.
He did a below average, I would say maybe an average job with the Wildcats. 43 and 35. I mean, he's going home with no expectations. Good for him.
Yep.
Nice. Good stuff. All right.
Conor Wegman transferring to Houston. Breaking news. Huh?
And what happened, Rob?
Conor Wegman, Texas A&M quarterback, transferring to Houston.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Good stuff. I'm checking to see what's going on. Rob, I thought somehow that Major Harris did kind of play. I'm looking it up too, but we'll circle back to that too. But got some exciting news. I know Naj is trying to figure out his camera. Once you get your camera figured out, Naj, let us know. Jump back in, and you've seen us, and we're excited to kind of get him on too. He's been a long time fan caller of the Blog Talk situation too, man. So he's gonna get that figured out, and we'll get him on too for sure. So good stuff as far as that. I know I can't wait to hear from all you West Virginia fans how you feel about this reunion. Like I said, like we've discussed, we think it's a good fit. Rob, you nailed it. He did a good job at Arizona. So it's kind of a nice reunion too, to kind of bring some more back to the program, and hopefully it'll be a nice reunion. So sometimes those don't always go too well, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see how that looks out for sure. Yep. We're gonna kind of throw this to JQ, and just an Ohio politician is making a proposal, to make flag planting a felony after the fight against Michigan. So, you have anything on this, JQ?
I want to say that Florida did something similar. I don't know if it's still on the books, but they did have it. But yeah, you can't do that, man. You got to at least wait a year. Like, come on, man. You lose to a bad Michigan team, and they come in and you have a fight, and you want to put the bill on 2-3 weeks after that happened. Come on, this week. You got stop it. No. Don't let them win on your field. Like,
that's it. That's right. Right there.
That's how you do that. Don't. Yeah, that's how you end that. Easy breezy. Anyone else want to add to that, or is it kind of what it is?
Warren Sapp said it best, man. If you don't want a team to run up the score on you, stop them.
Stop.
That's right.
Yeah, so stop them.
Mm-hmm. Hurts. So
but no, though, if you go to somebody's field and try to plant a flag, they might whoop your ass. So opposing teams, you got to weigh that, but you can't put it into legislation. Come on, man, you can't put it into legislation. That's the wildest shit ever.
Politicians should have more important things to do than worry about college football.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, we had way too many fights on that last week of the college football season with all the rivalry weeks. I mean, I know Michigan, Ohio State was one game, but there were several others.
Yep.
From that same week. So I think college football needs to get involved and maybe stop the flag planting. But the politicians need to stay out of this, and they need to focus on, more important things, in my opinion. Like
come on, for real, right? Leave us alone, man. Naj,
right?
Can you see us? Can you hear us? What's up, my guy?
Yeah, I can see and hear y'all good. I don't know if y'all can see me. I'm in the back of an Uber calling in. But y'all said everything. This is a clown shoes politician. Easy heat, as they would say in wrestling. But like you just said, this is an NCAA problem. They just have to put a rule in: no flag planting, because it's going to lead to fights. I mean, this is a simple thing. It should have never been allowed to happen in the first place.
True.
I don't know how a coach just acts like he don't know that's going to be a fight. But they just got to get rid of it, man. That's too far.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We're excited to see, but we really can't see when we kind of see glimpses. So whenever you get settled, man, you get into the light, it'll be more even awesomer. So we're kind of waiting for that moment too, Naj. But again, excited.
Naj probably like being in the dark, man.
Naj is like, I'm going to hide out
from the Uber.
We love it. So now, JQ, pick it right up, man. So the best first round college football playoff matchup. And so again, me and Gary were kind of talking early about the easiest, if you will, but we want to kind of talk about, I don't know if this is like the easiest or just like the best matchup you think coming right out the gate.
Well, I'll tell you this, all the Ohio State fans, shut up. Like, don't lose to a bad Michigan team. Like, that's why you got hosed. So if you don't have that happen, if you beat Michigan and you go lose by a couple points to Oregon or you win, you get that coveted spot. So now you got to play Tennessee's dangerous ass at 8:00 at night, and then then you get Oregon again. And if you get past that, so if you want to go out there and prove that you're the best team, here's your opportunity, because Ohio State to me has the hardest path to the national championship. Any of the teams in there, given what happened, but I think the committee punished them, and rightfully so, for losing to a bad Michigan team. I'm looking at that Georgia path, and quietly, I mean, does Texas almost have it too? Because I mean, Arizona State has come on. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, we said Texas and Penn State. It depends on which one, right? Because we don't know, because Boise State, is that they're not really the third and the fourth best teams respectively. So it's kind of a toss, right? So, but go. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, but if I'm still looking at it, though, I'm Georgia. I'm shocked that they didn't let Georgia play in the Peach Bowl. I don't know what the politics around that was, because you've given Boise State the Fiesta Bowl, you've given Oregon the Rose Bowl, so they stay somewhere on that side. When there was an opportunity to give them the Peach Bowl and send Arizona State to the Sugar Bowl, I don't understand the flip-flop of that. But if I'm looking at Georgia, man, ain't nobody believe in Indiana and Notre Dame. So that's a ass whooping coming. So you talking about going to the semifinals, and then you're going to get the winner of Boise State and probably Penn State. Georgia has a cakewalk to the championship.
Yeah, that is.
Okay. I mean, Carson Beck, we got to see what's going on with that elbow.
Carson Beck, right. That's
yeah. But in terms of looking at that bracket, Georgia, to me, Ohio State has the hardest path. Georgia has the easiest.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the reason why Georgia is in the Sugar Bowl, not the Chick-fil-A Bowl, they still kept the conference ties. The Sugar Bowl always, if they have the opportunity, they're going to get the SEC champion, just like Oregon, the Big Ten champion, is going to the Rose Bowl. So they still got those conference ties whenever a sees fit. So that's what the thought process is on that. But from a New Orleans standpoint, I can tell you the city, if they get Georgia and Notre Dame, that's an incredible matchup for tourism down there with those two universities from a fan perspective. But no, JQ, I think you hit, I think you covered it well. I think when you look at the top 4 seeds, I think Oregon has the toughest path because they'll have the winner of Ohio State and Tennessee. And then let's say Oregon gets by that game, they may have Texas in the semifinal round, right?
Yep.
So I think Oregon definitely out of the top 4 seeds, even though they're the number 1 seed,
they got shafted.
They got the toughest path. And Georgia, you're right. Yeah, they got the easiest path, right? You know, you beat Notre Dame, Indiana, and then the next round, you either got a Boise State, Penn State, or SMU team. Penn State can't win big games, right? You know, Boise State, you know, they play in the Mountain West. You know, I don't think they can play in the big boy leagues, right? So Georgia out of the top 4 seeds definitely have the easiest path. And then when you look at the teams that's playing in the first round, you know, the team with the easiest path, in my opinion, is Texas, right? They get at home against Clemson.
Yep.
They get Arizona State. Now, Arizona State might be better than what we're giving them credit for. Scatterbo.
Scatterbo, yeah. Listen, when he hit the dice game celebration, I said, hey, he hanging out with way too many brothers. Hey, come on.
Bro, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah. When you look at the teams that's playing in the first round, I think Texas has got the easiest path. Obviously, the winner of that Ohio State Tennessee is going to have the hardest path.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But hey, I'm excited about it, man. I think this is great for college football. I mean, you're getting to see some matchups that you normally don't get to see. Ohio State and Tennessee has only played once in their history in a bowl game where Peyton Manning was at Tennessee in the 90s. So, I mean, Texas and Clemson, also 2 historical football powerhouses going at it that normally don't get to play against each other. So, for me, this is exciting. I know I don't mind seeing the Boise States and Arizona States in the playoffs. I just don't like the way it's seeded. I think they're going to have to go to a seeding philosophy similar to the NCAA tournament.
Yep.
And just seed them in the best teams ranking, regardless if they're conference champions or not, right? So I think eventually they just have to fix that. And I don't mind rewarding the conference champions, but I still think we got to seed them based on who's the best teams.
And
absolutely.
Yeah. And stop BSing yourself, because there's no chance that you really should have given Oregon, Penn State, and SMU or Indiana, Notre Dame as the 1 seed. Come on, man. And I'm not here for Oregon. It's just not a stop for the Big Ten. But if I was the number 1 seed and I'm looking at the other ones and say, how are you going to give me the hardest draw? I'm the only other team left. Come on.
I was looking at that and I'm like, how in the hell?
Yeah.
I love it. Love it. Good stuff. Good stuff, JQ. Way to wrap it up. Gary, who's going to win the Heisman?
I don't know.
Yes,
I really don't know.
Yes, you do.
Okay, yes, I do. That running back from Boise State.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Oh, he's got the Boise State he's representing. Shout out to
can anybody get it over Travis Hunter?
Man, listen, I think
Travis Hunter is phenomenal. All of these guys in the race are phenomenal athletes. Travis Hunter is the best athlete in this race.
Defense and offense?
Yeah.
What kind of impact that he's having?
What else do you want Genty to do? He's got Boise State with a bye. He's got 2,400 rushing yards and 28 rushing touchdowns. What else you want that man to do? What other running back has
water?
his team
Walk on water.
I mean, I
want him to finish second in the Heisman. That's what I want him to do.
Yeah,
Travis Hunter deserves Heisman.
I feel bad for him, because a running back on a team that good in any other year, not only do they win the Heisman, they walk away with it. He's having like a Ron Dane type season where he's just going absolutely bananas. He's going to have over 30.
Better than Ron Dane, actually, because he's catching the ball out of the backfield. Ron Dane couldn't catch a fly out of the backfield.
No, not at all.
Well, to have that kind of yards and have a 7.3 yards per carry average is just insane.
I wouldn't be upset if Genty wins it, though, to be honest. To you all's point, he's having an incredible year. I just think they're going to give it to Travis Hunter.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be upset if Genty wins it. I mean, he's very well deserved when you look at the stats. And I mean, number 3 seed for Boise State. Colorado's not even in the playoffs. But when you got a guy that's having a strong impact on both sides of the football field, I mean, we haven't seen that in quite some time. And not just average on both sides of the football. He's been a top wide receiver and one of the top corners in the country. And so it's kind of hard to bet against a guy that finished 9-3 and he was playing at a high level on both corner and wide receiver, right? I mean, if he's going to do that in the NFL, if you're going to get a player that can play, wide receiver has become one of the most important positions in the National Football League, right? You know, at first it used to be just quarterback, offensive tackle, edge rusher, and corner. But wide receiver is right up there now as far as one of the most important positions in football. And you got a guy that can come in and cover two of the most important positions in football. Man, I guarantee you should be a top 2 or 3 pick.
That man ain't gonna play them that many snaps in the NFL. It's a whole different ball game from the Big 12 to the NFL. I mean, when he's doing don't get me wrong, what he's doing is impressive. And I'm not trying to take away from him. I just feel bad for Jitty. I do. Because I don't know from a running back standpoint, this dude ain't even in the playoffs. We in the playoffs. Not only we in the playoffs, we got a bye. And I have had, if you count his passing yards, he's got like 2,800 total yards and like
he catches the ball in the backfield.
31 total touchdowns, and you don't win it?
He reminds me a lot of Alvin Kamara, Christian McCaffrey, Bijan Robinson. To me, he's that kind of running back. He's got that kind of elusiveness, great balance, great hands out of the backfield. I mean, he's the only running back I have going in the first round of the draft, and I have him probably going in the top 10, the top 15. I mean, he has that kind of impact. And, you know, we said the running back position was dead, right? But you look at the NFL this year, Derrick Henry having a big-time year. You look at what Saquon Barkley's doing, and now when you look at what Ashton Genty is doing on a college level, I mean, the running back position is being revived, when you look at the college and the NFL level this season.
Yes, it is. Good for them.
I will say this.
Who would you put third in that? Who would you put third in that Heisman voting? Cam Ward?
Yeah, you can make it. I think a guy who probably should be in the Heisman conversation is Bryson Daly, the quarterback on the Army. Man, that dude's been running over teams this year. Man, they just direct snapping him the ball, and he's just running off. He's got like a money touchdown, just Ashton Genty does.
I want to say that what's his last name? Skeety Boo for Arizona State. I want to say he has 2,000 yards rushing.
Yeah,
it's a quiet 2,000. Nobody even talks about.
He's been phenomenal, and it's hard for me to gauge how good Arizona State is because they were playing in the Big 12. But they have been blowing people out of here of late, right? If Texas beat Clemson, they might have themselves a ball game against Arizona State.
Sorry, he's got 1,600 yards and 19 touchdowns.
That's an incredible season still. Yeah, and man, Arizona State has been dump trucking people when you look at their last 5-6 games.
Yes, they are. They have gotten hot at the right time.
Yep. I mean, they beat people by 20 points, 25 points. I mean, these games haven't even been close, right? Iowa State and Arizona State was seeding, like I think Arizona State was 15 and Iowa State was 16. Now, that's supposed to be a close game when you seeded that close. Arizona State dump trucked them people. Monkey stomped them, as JQ would say.
Monkey stomped them. It was 10-10 until it wasn't.
Yeah.
Monkey stomping. I love it. I'm just gonna say this: the last time that a defensive player won the Heisman was how long? You know when that was? You know who it was? Sorry, JQ. Who it was? And you know what year it was? 1997. That's how long ago it was for a defensive player to win a Heisman. And again, that's why it's pretty impactful to have somebody like a Travis Hunter that wins, making an impact on both defense and offense. I think it's kind of great if that happens too. So that's my little nugget for the night. So good stuff.
And look, and Travis Hunter is having a bigger impact than what Charles Woodson did when he won the Heisman. Look, Charles Woodson played a few plays offensively. Travis Hunter plays offensively on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And he plays defensively on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So I mean this guy is I don't know when the last time we've seen an athlete like this. I mean, you got to go back to the 70s and the 60s when guys played two ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So is he a better receiver or is he a better cornerback?
I think he's a better cornerback.
Yeah, I agree with that. I was getting ready to say that. He's definitely more polished as a corner, from a technique standpoint. I think wide receiver, he's getting by on his athleticism. But if he gets the techniques down from a wide receiver perspective, I mean, that's going to make him even better. But from a technique standpoint, he's definitely better as a corner than he is as a wide receiver.
Killing me, Gary. Killing me.
But some of those catches he's made are insane. But like I said, I think he's doing that more off his athleticism. You know, I think he's still going to have to get the technical aspect of the receiver position down.
Agreed.
Let's get through these. We got a lot of topics to get through. I'm going to try to get through these last topics real quickly here. So I do want to do something I think is fun, and it's the 2024 draft redo. And I'm thinking of probably like the top 10 picks here, if you would. So for me, if we're kind of doing a kind of a redraft, right? So let's say like number one, I don't think that Caleb Williams goes number one. That goes to Jaden Daniels. He goes number one to Chicago. Totally like throws it off. You know, maybe will say the Commanders take Caleb Williams. That's the next thing because he's actually from Maryland, if you will. Drake May, I still think he stays number three. I think that the Cardinals get Brock Bowers at number four. Or you can kind of keep it with, you know, obviously Marvin Harrison. That's kind of like a picky one from there. I still think Joe Alt stays with the Chargers. I think the Giants draft Bo Nix. And I think the Titans draft Michael Penix. And I think finally the Falcons get Jared Verse. And we kind of like, he's off the board at that juncture. And then, you know, maybe the Vikings get like Quinyon Mitchell or something like that too. But I'm just kind of thinking a quick, you know, draft redo. Maybe you're, you know, if you're the Bears, maybe you get Marvin Harrison Jr. or Brock Bowers. But, you know, that's kind of what I'm thinking about from that perspective.
Yeah. I think the main one you covered, number one, I think, you know, it's an easy choice. You know, Jaden Daniels will go to the Bears if you have to do a redraft, you know, based on what we've seen thus far, right? You know, and here's the thing, right? They both are extremely athletic. But to me, the difference is Jaden Daniels' leadership, right? And Caleb Daniels may be that leader down the road, but he's not the leader that Jaden Daniels. When you see the confidence that Daniels has and the way he settles his team down, and, you know, you can see the leadership capability that he has that, to me, Caleb does not have just yet, right? And Caleb still has a ton of potential. I think he's going to need to get with the right offensive coach to come in there and settle him down, to put the right scheme in place for him. And look, I think Caleb Williams is still going to be a great player. And, you know, but I think the key for me would be Jaden Daniels be the one pick. I think Bo Nix will probably get picked a little bit higher than he went based on what we're seeing right now. And I tell you, you know, a few of the offensive linemen that went later in the draft, I think will probably go a little bit higher, you know, in this draft as well. But I think definitely Jaden Daniels will be one. I think Bo Nix would definitely be higher in this draft. Brock Bowers is quietly having an insane rookie season, right? And
he's what Kyle Pitts should have been. Thank you. Sorry.
But I disagree with y'all. I think y'all are looking through it from the wrong lens. Jaden Daniels is succeeding because he has a better tenured head coach, and they got him Kingsbury to give him a better offense. I think if you put Jaden Daniels in that same situation in Chicago, the Bears will be exactly right where they are right now.
Okay.
You know, I agree with you. I
don't agree with that.
Well, look at the competition.
It's fair, but I think Jaden Daniels,
right? Yeah. You put Caleb in the NFC East with that team, of course he's going to be better. You know,
I think Chicago has screwed up Caleb.
I agree with that.
The coaching and the head and the offensive coordinator was telling. He said, "Man, wasn't even really talking to him. How is your rookie quarterback not in constant conversation with your offensive coordinator? What the hell kind of nonsense is happening in Chicago? Now, I bet you that shit ain't happening in DC. Like, Jaden Daniels is very good. Don't get me wrong, but he is benefiting from having a better structure around him than Caleb Williams in Chicago. And I just don't think if you swap him, Jaden Daniels has the same season in Chicago because he doesn't have the same support system that he has in Washington. It's just easy to look at it on the field and say that, but everybody that talks about what's going on in Chicago is telling you how bad it is with the power structure and the things behind the scenes that's not going on in Washington. So, no disrespect to Jaden. There's no disrespect to him. They're both. I think he's having I watched him destroy Cincinnati. He's having a phenomenal season. I just don't think he has the same kind of impact in Chicago if if everything remains equal and you just switch him, that he comes out and he has everybody like, oh, it's like, oh, you've been well. Also, the same thing. Chicago is rooting Jayden Daniels.
Yep.
Jayden Daniels got talent though. He's got talent. Ahead,
I don't disagree.
I agree with everything you said, JQ, but except I still would take Jayden over Caleb's at this point. And the main thing for me is the leadership qualities, right? I still think Caleb's going to be a really good NFL quarterback. I totally agree with you. He doesn't have the structure that Jayden has in Washington. But I think it comes down for me, the leadership qualities that these two young men have. And I think Jayden Daniels is here as a leader. And I think Caleb is down here as a leader. You know, I think Caleb is going to take him a few more years to get to Jayden Daniels' level as a leader. And I think that's the difference to me, in my opinion. And I think Jayden Daniels is a better – you're right, he's in a better situation. I think he's further along when it comes to reading defenses and making the right decisions than Caleb. Now, he's a little bit older than Caleb, so right? He's a little bit older than Caleb. He played more years in college football than Caleb. So to me, he's a little bit further advanced in that area. He's a little bit further advanced as a leader. So, I mean, I still think Caleb is going to be a good NFL quarterback. We've seen some potential in some games, but you can see that he still has got a lot to learn, and he still has to develop those leadership qualities that Jayden has.
We just have to agree to disagree.
That's the beauty of the show, right there. We can't agree all the time.
No. But we also know that Rob is an LSU Tiger, despite the nonsense he has going on in this call. So we also have to make sure that people know that and take that with a grain of salt that he would have Jayden go number one. Because
how many mock drafts? Hey, I'm second guessing. How many mock drafts did I have Jayden over Caleb?
Shit, I barely remember yesterday. You talking about remembering 5 months ago?
On January, how many mock drafts I had Jayden Daniels picked over Caleb Williams? Huh?
You didn't have many. You didn't have many. No, you didn't have any of them.
I don't know.
You didn't have any of them. You didn't have any of them.
I'm going back I had Caleb as the number one quarterback in the draft. And I'm going back against everything I said several months ago, right?
It's true. I will co-sign. Literally every draft, he always had Caleb number one. Because that was the consensus.
So I'm going back on against everything I said months ago.
But he also did that prognosticating because he knew from what he was reading and seeing that he was going number one. So, but he wanted. He wanted Jayden to go number one. He wanted Jayden to go number one.
He wanted it, but JQ, if you look at the mock drafts, he never did it. He always put Caleb number one.
Because he could. Because I mean, he ain't gonna cut his nose off to spite his face. He knew good and damn well when he was in research he was getting that Caleb was going number one. So there's no point in putting Jayden in there and then have to come out here and be like, oh, I guess I was wrong when everybody else in the free world knew that Caleb was going to Chicago. Like,
hey, there were several people. Louis Riddick was one who was constantly said that he would take Jayden Daniels number one, right?
He did.
Dan Orlovsky, another one who constantly said he would take Jayden Daniels number one. Even with those guys saying they should go number one, I still thought Caleb Williams was a better prospect.
But to be fair, though, there was a whole bunch of most of the people that were saying that Caleb to Chicago was a done deal. So, yes, I heard them say that. But then Dan Orlovsky gets out there and said, well, I don't know. It could be Drake May. So I have to take what he says with a grain of salt. He's wild.
He's all over the board.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, goodness gracious. We got some predictions to get to. Jerry, do you have anything to add to this awesomeness right here, man? This awesome.
No.
He was like, no, I've got nothing to add at all.
There he is.
All right.
There you go.
He's getting better.
Mama, there go that man.
He's getting a little better. Better. Maybe he's hiding
the brightness.
Turn the brightness.
Nah, you being safe out there, brother.
What's up? What up with you, man? What I gotta do? Put my ID up there on the camera next.
No, we
life.
That voice.
I don't think I can do anything about the light. I don't think I can do anything about that.
You're good. No, we're just happy to lay eyes on you, my guy. It's all good, man. It's finally here, man. We finally see you, man. That's amazing, man. We appreciate you.
Oh, salute. Same thing, man. And y'all look exactly like I thought y'all would, but younger. I thought I was the elder statesman around this month. Y'all old too.
I am.
I am by a long shot.
All this grading way.
Hey, Naj, it's not a matter. It's not how old you are. It's how you feel, man. I still feel like I'm 18, man.
Shit,
See?
I got up and ran a 5K this morning, man.
Shit, I'm 47. I feel like I'm 48.
5K. Oh, y'all going in?
No, they ain't no y'all. They ain't no y'all.
Come on, big money, JQ. Come on, pocket change, JQ. We got you, man. All right, we're gonna keep this going here. We're gonna get through some predictions because, again, no matter how much we love having this show go really, really long, we're gonna kind of again go through some quick predictions. Rob, we always appreciate your 20 topics, man. We never get through all of them, so we're gonna make this work, man. So let's get to these predictions, and we can kind of pick and choose. But first, there's some really exciting matches. So first and foremost, obviously, it's not exciting for the Rams and 49ers, but this is the first one out the gate Thursday night. I'm assuming everyone's picking the Rams in this one. So I know we talk about road team versus home team, if you will. But what say you, Rob, out the gate?
Well, this is a tough one for me because of the 49ers and all the injuries. And, it looked like their new running back, Isaac, is questionable this week now as well, too, right? So this is a tough one. But I think the thing that leans me toward the 49ers, the Rams defense is atrocious, right? And I think the 49ers gets more stops in these games than the Rams do. And that's what's kind of leaning me toward the 49ers. So I think the 49ers got enough offensively where they can score against the Rams because the Rams defense is flat out bad. They're one of the worst in the league. Now, the Rams got a good offense when Stafford is on with those receivers. So I'm going to go a little bit of a high-scoring game here just because the Rams can't stop anybody. I'm going to go 30-27 49ers at home.
I feel like the Rams always play the 49ers so tough, though. And it's hard to lose sight of that. And that boy Puka is just out here embarrassing people, bro. Like, you forget that they even got Cooper Kupp. Like, that big joker is just out to get off me. Like, he's wild. And I don't know how happy Debo is in San Francisco. Actually, I know he's not happy. And will that start to manifest itself in the same way with like A.J. Brown, even after a win, getting upset? Debo, after a win, getting upset. So I don't like on a short week for them. The problems in the locker room with Debo, maybe they come out and force feed him, and does that mess up the offense? And you're talking about running the ball for San Francisco. That boy Kyron Williams is running that rock for the Rams as well. So I'm going to go with the road team in this one. I just feel like, for whatever reason, the Rams have the 49ers number. I agree it's going to be high scoring. 35-31, LA.
Yeah. And, you mentioned Debo Samuel here. I think part of it is unhappy, but I think you're starting to see a player that's slowly aging too, right? I think you're seeing those two other receivers, Juwan Jennings and Ricky, what's Ricky's last name? Pearsall from Florida, right? I think you're starting to see those guys kind of come on as receivers for the 49ers. So I think you're seeing a Debo Samuel player that's kind of starting to aging a little bit. Look like we got a question on Facebook from David Bentley. Who do you guys favor for the Heisman? I love Hunter, but I think the kid from Boise carried his team to the playoffs, and it's tough to run for over 2,000 yards. Yep, that's what we just talked about. Yeah. So, David, I think you kind of right on the same boat that we were just discussing. I don't think you can't go wrong with either one of them, with Hunter or Genty. But I think Hunter is going to win it because, he's had an impact on both sides of the field, right? He's had an impact on the defensive side of the football field. He's had an impact on the offensive side of the football field. And it's just hard to do that in this day and age in any level of football. And they went 9-3. Jaden Daniels was on a 3-loss team last year and won the Heisman. So I think they're going to give it to Hunter, but I wouldn't be upset if they give it to Genty. I just think they're going to give it to Hunter.
Agreed.
Yeah, I just sent him a note too. So appreciate you, David, for doing that as well, man. So we appreciate your comments and the feedback as always too as well. So anything else you got for that, Gary? What you got, my guy? And we'll put the Naj as we get ready to wrap this.
Well, talking about the Niners and the Rams, the Rams do play the Niners tough. With all the injuries that the 49ers have, I think the 49ers are going to have just enough to win it. I hope they don't. Rams were my dad's team, so but I do believe the 49ers are going to win the game. Somehow, some way, they're going to win the game. I do think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I'm going to say 31-28, 49ers.
Good stuff. Me, the whole family is from 49er land, so that's where I got to lean, even though, man, there's not a lot of confidence for sure. Let's talk about the next game. This is another great game out the gate. We've got the Bills at the Lions.
Well, Dre.
Yeah,
Dre,
I'm sorry.
Let me add something on the 49er game
before
another bus comes by out here. I don't know how loud it is on y'all here. A lot of traffic out here outside. But, the Rams' offensive line has been banged up all season. Last week was the first time they've been fully healthy, and we saw what that offense is capable of when that O-line is there. So I just don't think the 49ers will be able to keep up with them offensively. Guerrero, the running back for San Fran, he may not go. Bosa may not go. And as you guys said, the thing with Debo's hurt. You remember a couple weeks ago when that dude was over there breathing through half a lung? Like, bro, that man is hurt. I don't know if Purdy can do enough to deal with, as JQ said, the man, the one and only Puka Nacua, who clearly doesn't understand that the same way that Matt Stafford killed Cooper Kupp's body, he about to kill your body, dog. So you better talk to the coach or somebody, man, because, they are overusing that boy. But, he's going to eat, man. Give me the Rams 31-24.
I hope you're right, Naj. I hope you're right.
And to answer your question, the answer to that. No, Brock Purdy is not going to elevate it. He needs the help around him to be a game manager.
Absolutely.
Elite, then I don't think that's what it's going to be. I'm sorry, Dre. I just don't think he's elite. If everybody's around him and healthy, he's good. But if he has to start being outside himself,
there's you're calling it the truth. I'm not disagreeing from that. Let's get it going here. I'm gonna let you start, Naj. We got the Bills at the Lions. The Bills coming off that 42-44 loss versus the aforementioned Rams. But the Lions playing well. This is a great matchup. Do the Bills get a little comeback, Naj, or the Lions going to keep trucking at 12-1, if you will?
I think this is going to be another page in the Josh Allen MVP book. I think he does something special, mainly because Detroit's D-line is still banged up. You saw in that Thanksgiving game, when their D-line got hurt, all of a sudden the Bears could actually move the ball and score on them. So Detroit, they're still Detroit, so they're going to put up points. But I think, man, Josh is just playing on another level this year. I'm amazed that he's playing within structure, and we're not seeing the boneheaded stuff anymore. So, man, I'm putting all the chips in this weekend on Josh, man. I say he gets it done. Give me 35-28.
Wow.
Hey, I think this is going to be a heck of a football game. I really do. I think it's definitely going to be one of the better games of the weekend. And, hey, Naj, I totally agree with you. You're starting to see over the last few weeks, the Lions got a ton of injuries on their defensive side of the football, and teams are putting up points against them. Even the Bears were moving the ball against them a couple of weeks ago. But I think Detroit, on the same side, is going to put up a lot of points too, right?
Yes.
You haven't seen teams stop that offense. They got the best 1-2 punch at the running back, and David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs. And you look at Sam Laporta. The Lions have the best offensive line in the league. They got Jameson Williamson, Amon-Ra St. Brown as well. So Lions defense needs some work and needs some help, but I don't think anybody can stop the Lions either, right? So I'm going to reverse that score, Naj. I'm going to say 35-28 Lions, the exact same score, but I'm going to go with the Lions on this one.
I was going to say, you started the other conversation talking about how bad that Rams defense was. The other team they play also gave up 44 points in that game. And you're talking about the Detroit's out there doing the people? Listen, you can run the ball on Buffalo. And the one thing that Detroit would do is say, hey, we don't have to make Jared Goff be the superstar. We're going to go with Sonic and Knuckles in the backfield, and we're going to run the ball down your throat.
Let's go.
And the best way to beat Buffalo is to keep Josh Allen's ass on the bench. And Detroit can do that. I'm going to go with Detroit. I also was like, that Buffalo defense can be had. Their weakness is Detroit's strength. So I'm going to go with Detroit on that one.
I'm going with Detroit on that too for the very same reason. Josh Allen will not get the he will not get the time out on the field. You know, they're going to run the ball, take time off the clock, and they're going to score touchdowns. And then his touches are going to be limited. I'm going with 28-23 Lions.
And Dan Campbell might as well cut his punter and kicker because he don't punt and don't kick field goals.
Yeah, that
wasted roster spots, Rob. Wasted roster spots. Naj, I'm not going to pile in against you. So this is interesting because I kind of lean to the Lions, but I will say this: if the kind of just kind of take cruise control and kind of like throttle it down, that's what I think. They cannot, but if they do, that's where I think they would lose this game. So I don't think it's gonna happen. But we're all going Lions. I'm sorry. Yeah.
They still got Philadelphia sitting, but right next to them trying to get that one spot from. They got Minnesota one game behind them in the.
They got a lot to play for.
Yeah, they got a lot to play for. Buffalo's the one that's on cruise control because they probably walked out and think and said, "Man, we scored a lot of points, but these sorry MFers in our division, we got the division locked up anyway. Kansas City gonna probably be the number one seed anyway, so." Nobody's gonna say it out loud, but you can't tell me that thought don't creep in your head when you already got it locked up versus Detroit. Man, we got to win every single week to get to where we want to go.
We got another question online from our good friend David Bentley. Sorry to get off topic. What are the Steelers' chances of making a run? And this is probably one of JQ's favorite topics here. What are the chances of the Steelers making a run? And hey, my thoughts on that, and my thoughts is, look, I think the Steelers are going to win the division, right? But I just don't see them as a deep run playoff team, right? And I look at the Chiefs, even though they keep winning these nail biters, right? They still have Patrick Mahomes. You talked about Josh Allen already as well. I just don't see them as a team that's going to make it to the AFC Championship game, right? Even with their defense, I can see them making it to the divisional round. I just don't see them as a team that's going to make it to the AFC Championship game. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. I think they go on the road this week. I know we get into that game here shortly. I think they go on the road and lose to the Eagles. We just talked about the Eagles knocking on that Detroit Lions door, right? Yeah. And, hey, Carolina gave them a tough game this past weekend, but the Eagles are just as talented as Detroit, and they're healthier on defense, right? Mm-hmm. Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert. The offensive line is not as good as Detroit's, but it's still a really good line. Look at what Jalen Carter is doing on defense. DeJean, the rookie from Iowa. Quinyon Mitchell, the rookie from Toledo. Their defense is probably playing better than Detroit's right now, and they're almost just as talented as offensively. So I like the Eagles in that game. But, yeah, I just don't see the Steelers making the deep run.
And you forget the most important part. George Pickens might go to the 7-Eleven and blow it up and get suspended for the rest of the season. You can't rule out that he won't mess something up in a big game for them and throw the ball at somebody and get a 15-yard penalty for no reason and mess up a drive. And it costs them. When you're playing good teams, small things make a big difference. And if he ain't got his hands,
somebody's shade.
And he ain't. Man, that dude is crazy. There's something super wrong with George. Like he.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
So
it's CTE all written all over it. JK.
Yeah. Like, listen, he got issues. He to me, honestly, he would be the reason I wouldn't pick Pittsburgh to make a long run because he has the power. He's their best wide receiver. He has the power to implode that offense by doing something stupid. Yep. Hail Mary in the air. This fool fighting defensive back in the back of the end zone. What are you doing? Like that kind of shit. So, and I'm with you. I don't know. Having said that, I know the Eagles got to keep winning, but I don't like what's going on with AJ and Jalen. That passing game has not been great, and they don't seem to be on the same page. I know they came out and said everything was okay, but I kind of need to see it first before I pick them this week. Like long term, if they say they squashed and they really did, that's cool. Yeah. But in a week where you basically threw him under the bus, he's supposed to be your homeboy, and then now that comes out, and then you get Brandon talking on a podcast, talking about, well, they used to be friends. Oh. Hey, man, why are you telling all this business of the national media? What are you doing? So I don't know. In a week where that has happened, I think I got to lean towards Pittsburgh until I see Philadelphia straighten it out, get AJ involved. Everybody's kumbaya.
Wow, JQ, the guy who hates the Steelers is picking the Steelers, America. Hey, David, I appreciate those questions, man. Keep them coming.
I don't want to root for no football in the state of Pennsylvania. I had to pick somebody, unless I pick a 0-0 tie. So I mean,
yeah, but let's add this though. Pickens is so damn talented though. We got to add that to it. He's a floor raiser as far as ability. Now the thing with Pittsburgh is, I think we just got to put it in perspective. Before the season started, did they expect this start? If you told Steelers fans they would have this record, they would take it 100% of the time. So I take this back to Atlanta Falcons fandom. People think the Falcons Super Bowl season was their best season. And in reality, Matt Ryan's rookie year was probably the best football experience as a fan we've ever had. Because we didn't expect anything, and we didn't know that was coming. The big Michael Turner, Matt Ryan year. And with Pittsburgh, this is $50 in your jeans when you're doing laundry. This is what this season has been. So making the playoffs and losing in the first or second round, dude, can you really criticize Tomlin for doing it with this squad?
No.
With the resurgence of Russell Wilson, where he's just throwing moon balls every once in a while? Like, this is found money. Yeah, this is found money, bro.
You know, Rob, you brought up a point about Russell Wilson last week, about him having a decent season last year. But we all talked about him, kind of taking a bit of a dive this year and, and regressing a little bit. And he's had a great season, and they got a good team around him, good coaching. I think the Steelers can beat the Eagles. I think it's going to be a good game. And I'm not saying that just because I hate Philadelphia, which I want to go on record, everyone here, that I do hate Philadelphia.
Brotherly love, man.
Brotherly love, Gary.
But I do believe that the Steelers can go in there and beat Philadelphia.
Yeah, should be good. Good game.
And we may get a squeaky wheel narrative for AJ Brown because, look, man, when you're throwing the ball 15 times, your number one receiver gonna be mad, bruh. They are not throwing it at all. Like, it's not like, okay, he had a bad game, he had a drop. No, they're just not giving him opportunity. So I can understand why he's mad. Now, why you would air that publicly, that's a whole nother story. But
we're supposed to be boys. You the godfather to my kid, but we winning games. Our running back is in the MVP conversation. Shut up.
There it is.
Up.
Shut
I
up.
love it. I love it.
The Simpsons. Loves it. Hey, what's up with Steelers wide receivers and challenges, man? Remember Plaxico Burress? Man, let's go back to the days, man. Remember that, man? Man,
nice.
We got Plaxico, Mike Wallace, of course.
Antonio Brown. Oh, man. They've had some divas. Now,
there's something in their scouting where they say the talent outweighs the red flags, and we doing it. There's something in their scouting that says that.
Let me get the craziest motherfucker out there to play wide receiver. Let's go.
JQ said it. Deal. Forget the filter. There is no filter. Like, that's the dude I want right there. That dude's a dog.
Listen, this man sitting in front of the TV like this when you get drafted. Like, man, what is wrong with you? What's wrong with you?
With mask on, JQ. With mask on. Standing in front of the TV. Yeah,
he's crazy talented, but that dude there is nuts.
He's one of them.
Yeah, that used to be Marvin Lewis philosophy too back in the day, JQ.
Marvin Lewis, Black Jesus. Yep, come on. All the Georgia players. That's hilarious.
Shout out to the great Marvin Lewis.
Don't you start
jail, please.
With Andy Dalton as an anchor pulling him down. Shout out to Marvin.
Man, don't you give a shout out to Marvin Lewis 8-8 ass. Don't you start it. Don't you do it. Go ahead, Dre.
We're gonna wrap
the black Jason Garrett.
What was that, JQ? Finish it up.
I said he ain't nothing but the black Jason Garrett. Go 8-8. Don't win no playoff games to come back.
Oh, man, you got some 9-7 seasons in there.
I can't believe it. I can't believe that. I can't believe we pulled that off. Oh
I'm
man.
not wrong.
Always got to throw the Cowboys.
You're not wrong,
Listen,
man.
Listen, Ryan Day is the white James Franklin. I throw my own people into it. Same as that's playing each other. That's what they are.
Can't win the big games.
Oh man. Can we
Trying to call it down the middle.
Oh my god. How do I finish this up? Let's see. Bum fight. Buccaneers at the Chargers. I don't know what to do about this one.
I do. The Bucks.
What?
The Bucks have quietly suffered a lot of injuries on the defensive side of the ball throughout this season, and their schedule just got a little lighter in the middle, and they just were able to overcome it. I can't stand Harbaugh's ass, but they play in defense and they're running the ball. If Ladd McConkey plays in this game, I can see them winning this game. I would pick the Chargers because I just don't like what I see from the Tampa Bay defense right now. If the Raiders had a competent quarterback, they might have won that game on Sunday. And the Chargers have one in Justin Herbert. Now, whether he can get his wide receivers to catch the ball is a whole other thing because that is just wild to watch. That just but I still
Quentin Johnson.
Yeah, man. Listen, he needed to put his up.
Damn,
Listen,
that's a bust. That's a bust right there, man.
Just drop them off with the equipment manager and take the trash back to your locker, clean that shit out because you won't go back. I'm gonna go with the Chargers though over the Bucks.
Hey, the Chargers are playing hardball ball, right? It's not beautiful to watch, but they're just winning games, right? They're physical in the trenches, both on the offensive and defensive line. They're running the ball well. The only big question mark for me in this game is Justin Herbert's health, right? He is questionable at the moment. I think he's going to play. As long as he plays, I think the Chargers win this game. If there's some reason why he doesn't play, then obviously I'm going to go with the Bucks to win this game, right? Because, they're not going to win this game with no Easton Stick at the quarterback position.
No.
Right.
Taylor Heineke. Yeah.
They're not going to win the game with Heineke either.
My dog.
If Heineke or Easton Stick is playing a quarterback for the Chargers, they're going to lose. They're not going to beat the Bucks with either one of those two guys, right? But I expect Herbert to play. As long as Herbert plays, I agree with JQ. I think they win this game. Their defense, they're playing. Last few weeks, they played the run a lot better. That was their struggle early in the year. But now they're stopping the run a little bit better after their bye week. And look, they're putting good rush on the quarterback. Their secondary's playing good. Cam Hart has been a 5th-round steal for them from Notre Dame so far. He's been outstanding for the Chargers. Look, and the Buccaneers are missing more tackles this year than we've seen ever from Todd Bowles' defense, and a lot of that is due to the injuries. But yeah, if Justin Herbert plays, I'm picking the Chargers.
I'm going with the Chargers as well in this game. At home, playing that boring Harbaugh football, but it equates to wins.
Oh yeah.
So you keep the ball from the team and you score some points. Yeah, they're going to beat the Bucks.
Yeah. Hey, I know I've said this a lot of times on the show, but I love what Jim Harbaugh told the fans when they drafted Joe Alt.
Yep.
And says, "Oh, we needed a weapon. We need some wide receivers. Somebody. Oh, Joe Alt is a weapon."
For sure. And the other piece about it is that they got to keep winning, especially with Miami trying to make a surge. They've got to win to keep that wild card position together. So keep winning. So they, I mean, not that it's not on the Bucks, but given what's happening with Atlanta, I think they have a easier path with the NFC South than what's happening in the wild card with Denver right there next to them and Miami making a surge right behind them.
Yep.
Lost knowledge again. All right, let's wrap this up here.
We get a Bucks credit though. Baker's playing well.
He is.
100%. 100%.
He is.
Well. Let's get our last one. We've got the Packers at the Steelers and the Seahawks. Please forgive me. Packers at the Seahawks. And Seahawks playing well. Obviously whipping up on Arizona. They've always had Arizona's number. And so it looks like obviously Zach Charbonnet ran all over that, and just seeing him, that. So what's going to happen now? We've got the situation. Yeah, Charbonnet. So now the Packers are coming in. What say you in this one? I'm gonna throw it out to you, Rob. Start it up.
Well, the Seahawks are one of those teams that were just kind of Jekyll and Hyde. They win 2, lose 2, win 1, lose 1. But all of a sudden, it just seems like they're playing some consistent football. They won 4 in a row right now. Geno Smith, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, DK Metcalf. When Kenneth Walker is healthy, they got a good 1-2 punch at running back with Zach Charbonnet. And last year, their defense was a struggle, right? They got a new coach, defensive coordinator from the Ravens come over. You're starting to see their defense starting to play a lot better football right now, particularly in the secondary. And I'm gonna pick the Seahawks in this one. I just think they're playing a little bit more consistent football than what the Packers are right now. They've won 4 in a row. And look, the Packers defense, and I'm not sure if Zaire Alexander is going to play in this game. If he doesn't play, I'm definitely going with the Seahawks. I think the Packers have a little bit better chance if Alexander plays. But if he doesn't, I think the Seahawks are just playing more consistent football right now. Quietly have improved that defense as well.
See, you falling into that stuff I used to do to myself where Andy Dalton would have like 3-4 good games. I'd be like, hell yeah, Andy Dalton is turning the corner. And then he have an Andy Dalton game on your ass, those 3 picks. Listen, we do for a Geno Smith game. Now you know he gonna give you one where you start talking yourself into Geno Smith, and he go out there and he do Geno Smith things, and you look up and he got 158 yards passing and 3 picks, and you can't understand how you got there. I am going to go with the Packers in this game because I just don't think the Packers get enough love because they're in the same division with Minnesota and Detroit. The Packers have a really good team. They're playing good ball, but they get lost in the shuffle because of their division and what's happening with also in Philadelphia in the NFC. So I'm gonna have to see the Seahawks beat the Packers before I believe it. I just don't trust in Geno Smith continuing to be on the up. He gonna give you some of that Jameis Winston every now and again where he just goes off the rails. Deliver me.
Same with Jordan Love, though.
You know what? I think you
got to realize too, JQ. Jordan Love does the same thing with INTs.
He does, but I just am not a Geno Smith believer, bro.
That's a different level of quarterback. Go ahead, Gary.
Okay, if you look at both of these teams, the Packers are a better team, but Seattle's playing at home, and they always play tough at home. And I think if Geno Smith is going to have one of those games, I don't think it'll be at home. He's comfortable there. I think he'll go crap the bed on the road. If they were playing in Green Bay, yeah, there's no way. There's no way there's no way they could beat him. But Seattle has got a great home field advantage, and it's hard to beat them up there. They're loud, obnoxious, and their fans are wild.
You know what's crazy? What's crazy about what you're saying, Gary, is normally very true. Seattle was 8-5 this year. They won 4 in a row, but they're 3-4 at home.
I know. This is one of those years, but
they're 3-4 at home, and they're 5-1 on the road. So they've been a better road team this year. So I definitely think Seattle wins this game at home. They would not lose. They won't end the season with a losing home record.
No.
I don't know. Look, the problem with Seattle is they have no pass rush. Their front 7 is average to guys who won't be on the squad next year, but their secondary is great. So that's a hard thing to do with defense. I think Green Bay takes this. I think Josh Jacobs has a good game running the ball, and I think Jordan Love makes enough plays. Yes, Jordan Love does make those boneheaded plays that kind of make you wonder about if he's, an elite franchise guy. But he's also talented enough to where I think they just put up a score that Seattle can't match. And the limitations of Geno start to kind of show. Look, he's an average NFL quarterback. His career would be totally different if he stayed in New York. One of those franchises had kept him. But I think you're asking a lot, man. DK is banged up. Charbonnet, yeah, he had a good game last week, but come on, man. That's a receiving back and touchdown back. That's it. That's not a great feature back. So if Kenneth Walker is out, I just don't see enough for Seattle, man. I think Green Bay goes in there and really puts their foot on the neck. And as JQ said, they're a really good team. They're just in a division where it looks like they're not as good as they are. And this is money time for Jordan Love. And I think he's going to come through.
Naj, give us a score on the game.
Oh, give me Green Bay 28-17, where we see Geno in late hysteria mode, where he likes to throw those Jameis-style picks and things like that. And with all that said, Geno got a bad shake as far as the NFL because that dude should have been the quarterback of the Jets or the Giants, but they ran him out of town because of their raggedy fan base who really doesn't know ball. Yes, I said that, New York. Eat it.
Nice.
We want to hear from y'all, New York. That is Naj.
Hey,
Wow.
I'll take all the arrows from New York. Whatever y'all got, bring it. I ain't worried about New York, man. Y'all fake fans anyway.
Okay.
That's Naj, New York. We want to hear from y'all.
oh,
Wow.
that. Hey,
Wrapping
listen,
this up.
there's. I'm done. There's nothing else to say after that.
There is nothing to
That's
say.
not good.
Like I said, that's how we gonna end it, man. It's been, unless you want to do like one last thing, Rob. I know we've got so much stuff, man, but we've been going long enough, and we want to kind of get this going, man, because it's been a long night. I know we're gonna let Jake could get back to his wife after the Christmas show. Anything else to wrap up before we?
Great, get to this bed.
Yeah, for real, right? Good. All right.
All our viewers out there, we appreciate you all tuning in. To my boy David, thanks for the questions and chiming in on us. We appreciate that dialogue. Join us next week. More than likely it'll be Wednesday night again. So stay tuned for the listings on our Talking Sports with the 12th Man. New York, we want to hear from y'all. We want to hear from y'all. Battle my boy Naj here. New York, Giants fans, Jets fans, Knicks fans, Rangers, Islanders, Mets, Yankees, all of y'all. Hear from y'all next week. Hopefully Naj will be on. We want to hear y'all battle my boy Naj next week. New York.
Bring it to
Hey,
fake New York.
Trae Young, man, is the new Reggie Miller. He's a Knicks killer. Went into New York and beat the Knicks again tonight. So, man, Trae Young is the new Reggie Miller, man. He drives in New York City, and he talks a lot of trash when he's up there, too. Yep. Chicago, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels. Who should y'all have picked? We want to hear from y'all on next week as well. Hey, Oakland A's fans, Oaktown, get loose now.
I'm gonna say Oaktown 357. Come on, Rob, your old ass.
357, get loose now.
Get loose.
We're losing the A's. They're gonna play in Sacramento next season, right?
If the A's ownership is not hit by a egg or something, I feel like the Oakland A's fan base has let us down. That's a terrible franchise. They're trying to move, go after ownership. We need citizen solidarity of confrontation. That's what I'm talking about out here, man. So, yeah, Oakland fans, if y'all really mad, let the owners know, man.
Well, Oakland should be mad, period, right? The Warriors moved to San Francisco, the Raiders moved to Vegas, and now the A's are moving to Vegas. Oakland, what's going on, man? 357 getting loose now. All your teams are getting loose.
And I want to say something to the Seattle fans. I picked you this week, so remember that. Don't let your team down. Get out there and get loud.
Shout out to the Hawks for knocking out the Knicks. I love it, man. Love it, love it, love it, man. We're playing well. Got to face a tough Bucks team, but we'll see how it plays out, man. But I'm happy for us. We're playing well. Gentlemen, appreciate you guys again. Follow us on all the channels. We got Facebook, facebook.com/Talking Sports the 12th Man or 12th Man Sports. Our YouTube page is up, another 12th Man Sports. And then we're also on Twitter, not X, Twitter, at the number 12, THMN Sports. Gentlemen, pleasure to see you guys. Be safe in them streets. Naj, next week, my guy. Much love.
Yes,
see you guys next week.
Yes, sir.
New York,
Yes,
make
sir.
sure y'all dial in next week.
Hey, bring it. I want all of it. Tell me why you paid Max Fried for 8 years when he's an injury-prone guy. Tell me how you couldn't pay for Juan Soto and you're supposedly the New York Yankees with all the money. Tell me all of it, New York fans, you fake fans. Look, I've been bringing it to New York for a long time, so I'm ready for the smoke. Bring it.
Break it, New York. We want to hear from y'all.
Yeah, let's go.
And Gary,
Yo, Gary,
now,
Gary and Robert, New York
Yankees next week, Gary.
Yes.
Wow.
All right, y'all.
Wow.
Where your
Fire
Yankee
shot.
stuff, Bob.
Good
There
night.
you go. Good night, everybody.
It's the beautiful dichotomy of life. One man runs a 5K. I'm smoking cigarettes on the show. Salute. See y'all next week.
Health is wealth, my brother. Health is wealth.
Health is wealth. Be good.